And there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FRIEND to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRIEND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRIEND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Here's Bobby White from Woody Anderson Ford on their service department.
President's Award winner 2 years in a row. That's only given to the top 10% of Ford dealers in customer satisfaction. So we're very proud of the service department. And our body shop. If you happen to get into an accident, which not a lot of people just want to go down and see a body shop, but if you get into an accident, award-winning body shop. We have the state-of-the-art paint booths back there. They're waterborne paints that we use, friendly for the environment. We've got our production system, the way things are in and out. We have the fastest cycle rate in town of getting your vehicle in, getting your vehicle out, and assured that it's fixed right. We take pictures before it's wrecked, and not only after, but we take it as we're putting the parts on. All done to above industry standards. So I'm proud of our body shop too. Don't forget our parts department. So, if you happen to need parts, performance parts, or just parts if you're a weekend mechanic.
Woody Anderson Ford, located at the corner of Jordan and Sparkman, as well as Hughes Road and Madison. You can also check out
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi from London. First NFL game of the day. Trevor Lawrence, 22 of 33, 253 yards passing and a touchdown. Jaguars leading the Bills 11-7 early fourth quarter. Buffalo's Steph Diggs, 6 catches, 101 yards and a TD. The Bills have played most of this game without linebacker Matt Milano. He was carted off the field due to a knee injury. No word yet on the severity. Rams receiver Cooper Kupp, coming back from a calf injury, set to make his season debut against the Eagles. Hasn't played since Week 10 last season. His return does leave one question fantasy-wise for the Rams. Receiver Puka Nacua, ESPN fantasy football analyst Anita Marks.
His over-under receiving yardage is 63.5. I'm still going to take the over. I think, you got Tutu Atwell, who I think he's averaging 8 targets per game. I think his target share is the one that's going to decrease. I still think Puka can get over 63.5.
Anita Marks on Best Week Ever. 2 other players also making their season debuts today. Colts running back Jonathan Taylor against the Titans, and Ravens defensive back Marlon Humphrey against the Steelers. He's returning from foot surgery. Giants running back Saquon Barkley out a 3rd straight game against the Dolphins with that injured ankle. Both American League divisional series do resume with Game 2s today, both on ESPN Radio. First up, Orioles hosting the Rangers at 3:30 Eastern. Then the Astros home to the Twins at 7:30 Eastern. Houston and Texas each up 1-0. On the court, Las Vegas and New York, after a week off, open up the WNBA Finals today. Coverage begins at 3 o'clock Eastern on ABC.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Welcome to the Bama Recap Show, presented by Freedom Marine Center. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Drew DeArmond and Steve Moulton.
Dirt neck. The hold from Burnip, the snap from Nealon Hibbett. Snap, spot, and kick are all completed and perfectly done so. Will Riker boots it through from 39 yards, and we are tied with 3:31 to go in the first quarter. 3-3. Pistol formation with McClellan to the right side of Milroe. Now an empty set as he goes in motion left. Bama looking deep again. Got a man wide open. Bond catch at the 5. Into the end zone. Touchdown, Alabama. Isaiah Bond, 52 yards on the strike from Jalen Milroe, and Alabama has taken now a 9-3 lead. Dirt neck pistol formation. Johnson looking, pressure coming up the middle. Back pedals, throws. That one is almost picked off. It was picked off. Caleb Downs, his second interception of the year, and Bama takes it over at the Aggie 39-yard line. 3 wideouts left, 1 right. Milroe on the low snap. Looking, bouncing, firing towards the end zone. Burton, catch. Is he in bounds? Yes! Touchdown, Alabama. Jermaine Burton able to beat Tyreek Chappelle, the corner, for the 15-yard touchdown grab, and Alabama is an extra point away from tying it up. This is from 42 yards in the near hash mark. He's only 1 of 5 from this range this season. The snap, the spot are good. The kick is blocked, and Bama's got it. Bama's got it. Foot race right now. Braswell, 35, 30. Nobody commit a penalty. He's in. Touchdown, Alabama. But dadgummit, there is a flag back at midfield. 6 minutes to go from his own end zone. He's down. He's down. Ball is loose. Who's got it? Who's got it? Officials talking it over.
Intentional grounding, offense, number 14. The foul occurred in the end zone. By rule, it's a safety.
2 more for Alabama in possession of the football upcoming, as the Aggies will have to punt it away. And how about that Bama defensive front? 2 minutes to go. No timeouts left for the Aggies. Bama by 6 with the ball on 3rd and 7. Milroe, play action, tuck it away, he fires it, and it's caught. McClellan, 40, McClellan, did he get to the first down? He did! Wow, wow, wow. Jalen Milroe looked like he was going to get sacked, looked like he was going to fumble. Instead, he looks like the hero if it's a legal catch.
Dirt neck
From the 35. He's got it. Milroe with it. Running right. Looking towards the end zone. And it is incomplete as the clock hits 0. Wow.
The quarterback was outside the tackle box and the ball crossed the line of scrimmage. The game is over.
Yes, it is, baby. Let's get out of here again. Alabama wins it. Final score, 26-20. The Crimson Tide gets the win in Aggieland.
Those are the calls from Chris Stewart from the Crimson Tide Sports Network. A good Sunday morning to everybody watching and everybody listening. He is Drew DeArmond, Steve Moulton here with you. I'll just simply ask you this.
All right, so what do we want to talk about first?
So what do you want to talk about first? Well, what do you want to talk about first, Drew?
Jalen Milroe, because he was the MVP, and as I said, he would have to be to win this game. I said he would have to have 300 all-purpose yards and account for 2 to 3 touchdowns. Now, he did it in a different way than I anticipated. He did not do much on the ground. I think he only had maybe 1 10-yard carry the entire game, but he threw for over 300 yards. And I'll just be honest, A&M's secondary is what I thought it was.
Yeah.
Not very good.
Yeah.
And for the most part, for the majority of the ball game, the pass protection from Alabama was really good against the greatest defensive line money could buy. And you know they're a good defensive line, but Alabama gave him time. And I thought going in they had to make 2 to 3 explosive pass plays, but Milroe made 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Because again, A&M's not very good in the back end, and if you can block them up front, keep them from off your quarterback, you can make hay. And that's what Alabama had to do because they did load the box and they did try to take the run away. I thought Alabama would do a little bit better job running the ball, but I also thought they would vary it up a little bit and use Milroe as a runner and emphasize that to him, but obviously that wasn't the case. But I'll give Tommy Rees a lot of credit. I thought at halftime he made some adjustments, and, heck, if they're going to load it, just throw the ball. And the short intermediate stuff was open.
Yeah.
And for the most part, except for 3 or 4 throws, Milroe was really accurate. And honestly, even his interception, I didn't get irritated at because I thought it was actually a good play call by Rees. You know, you fake the toss, you give him a run look, and then you try to catch him. And Milroe just held on to it a half beat too long. If he'd have thrown it sooner, he would have been able to hit Nye Black down the seam in front of him, give him a chance to break the tackle of the safety. But the very next play, Caleb Downs.
How about Caleb Downs?
And that was a heck of a play, and
yeah.
He stole the ball away, and that was big because it got Alabama the ball right back. And then Alabama did lose the turnover battle 2-1.
That's right.
But Burton was second and third effort. Now, whatever caffeine he had, I wish he'd take a little bit less of it because he was just a little bit too keyed up at times. But I'll give him credit. He played one hell of a game, and he torched those guys, and he was battling, and he was going up. In traffic, making plays, and I just felt like Alabama. After the game, you find out he told his teammates, "We've got to attack them because they think they're going to rush the field. They think they're going to win this game, and we've got to be the more aggressive team." And I thought Alabama was the tougher team. I thought Alabama was the more physical team, and quite frankly, I thought they just kicked the hell out of Texas A&M the entire second half. Motormouth was, in the press conference after the game, play physical, You think that was physical? You got your ass kicked the whole second half, Coach.
He did say something that at least raised my ears a little bit.
I mean, it's all hindsight's 50-50, but
hindsight's 50-50.
Well, I guess Pat Dye was in the room somewhere watching over, but I'm just saying
hindsight's 50-50.
First of all, I thought they started off the game and stupidly went for it on a 4th and 1. And they probably should have just kicked it. And it was stupid, the play call. You get in the lane, Kiffin, and you try to throw it instead of running the football, which these coaches just think themselves sometimes. I really don't understand it.
This is happening every week.
Oh, I know. But I just thought overall, though, Jalen Milroe's ball placement. Now, we'll see. Now, he took a huge step forward. Now we have to see if he continues to build on it.
Well, you say huge step forwards after the third down conversion late. Throwing on that first down.
Oh, that was
wow.
That was a Cristobal. See, from this point forward, from this point forward, that will be a Cristobal.
Yeah, that's fair. That's completely fair. That's fair.
I know you probably texted your boy Wes Durham, but still, it was just.
Yeah.
Because I saw all that after it happened because I just couldn't believe. I was like, how did this happen? And so I had to see.
Oh my gosh!
But
all you got to do is take a knee. Really all Jalen had to do was take a knee.
Well, that's what I'm saying, or just run the football. We all went into shock. We're like, what is he doing? Because, what if the safety had, read his eyes and just broke and he runs it back?
Then you're done.
I'm sorry, but you lose your job over something like that.
Yeah.
I'm talking about as a quarterback. You as well as you played, if you blow it like that.
As soon as you converted on third down.
Right. That would have been an unforgivable, okay, it's time for Ty Simpson. I don't care how well you played earlier in the game.
Yeah.
You cannot make a mental mistake like that. And, luckily, he threw it into the ground. He threw a terrible ball. But we were all just shocked. And Saban's just over there.
Oh, my gosh. He was going ballistic.
And I could tell the way Jalen dropped his head yeah, Coach, I'm sorry. He saw the guy wide open, but it doesn't matter, dude.
It really –
you have
know the situation.
You have to understand down and situation.
Yeah.
And to be honest, when the play happened to McClellan, it was a great play from the standpoint to keep the play alive, make the throw, and – I thought at first, okay, I think his knee was down. I think they're going to call this back. Then when I saw the replay,
juggle, yeah.
I was like, awesome. I was like, what luck.
Yeah.
I was like,
that
makes up for the blindside block from Mo and then Larry and Curley with a couple of the other idiotic calls they made. I was like, this is poetic justice right here because you're going to run the clock out.
Yeah.
And then I was like, holy Toledo. But, I will say this. I was wondering how Alabama would approach the fourth down. I was like, there's no way I would punt it because they could have a chance to block it.
Exactly.
And so I was like, just run around.
Chuck
it. And then
yeah.
That's what they told him. Just chuck it out of bounds. I know there was a couple of A&M beat writers. I listened to the press conference. It didn't look like there's a second left on the clock. Take your loss and go home. Okay? You got enough. To be honest with you, Dallas Turner needs to learn a valuable lesson. Just start celebrating with your teammates. Do not touch anybody. But that was a horrific call.
Yeah.
That was, to me, it was like looking for something.
Yeah.
In other words, just like in the Tennessee game last year, those clowns were looking for something to call. Okay.
Pass interference.
These guys are all human, and Alabama's won a lot of games. Look, I'm sorry, that was BS. But I will say this: I was shocked they called the holding on the touchdown from 2 yards out because usually they don't call that, especially when it's Alabama. I'm just going to sit there and be that guy. I don't care. You saw the stats at one time. Nobody. The percentage of teams called for holding against that played Alabama. It was just like minuscule.
14-4, by the way, penalty-wise.
Don't get me wrong. Alabama's got a lot to clean up.
Nine pre-snap
those
penalties.
9 pre-snaps, I think those were legit. You've got to clean that stuff up. But I will give the officials credit for at least calling that holding penalty because once they did that, I knew it was going to be hard for A&M to score a touchdown. And it was, and I actually did think, even though Dirt Neck got severely outcoached in the second half, that it was smart to kick the field goal.
Yeah.
And then
I thought he should have done it a play earlier.
And I thought he was going to kick it deep and then try to use the timeouts. He tried to do the onside kick, and I think he should have kicked deep. I thought it was stupid strategy because if you don't get the onside kick.
He still had 2 of his timeouts because he had to take a timeout.
Yeah, he had 2.
Well, that's why I thought he was going to do it the play before, because the clock was becoming a real factor. Then he would have had all 3 of his timeouts. But anyway, I know.
I would have thought.
I know hindsight's 50-50, according to Jimbo Fisher.
Well, I just would have thought he would have saved at least those last 2, and then tried to get Alabama to punt it to him, and even if it's only with 20 seconds left, you've got the ball. Okay?
Exactly.
With better field position.
Yeah.
If once Alabama got that first down, Steve, it was good. Alabama. They weren't going to, but you could have technically tried a field goal. But of course, they weren't going to try to take the chance to get that blocked. But I mean, you were already so deep in Aggie territory, they were going to have, it was near impossible, even if they got the ball back with 1 second left. So but I felt like going into the game, and I know you're friends with your boy Chris Doring, but I had to fire that back at him. I mean, after he, flapped his trap last week and said they were better than Alabama in every phase. And then in the game, they weren't better than Alabama in any phase.
I did text him last night, and at midnight he responded to me, said, "How you doing, partner?" And he said, "I'm guessing you want to talk to me next week." And I said, "Yep."
Well, all I did was just point out all 3 of his points. I said, wrong, wrong, wrong. And then I said,
did you?
Yeah, no, I didn't tag him, but I was just
okay.
I did paste the picture of his quote.
He would take it. Absolutely. You can tag him.
Yeah, but I mean, I was just like, and going into the game, I felt like Alabama's special teams and defense were better. Now, offense, I could understand why some people thought A&M's was better, okay? But I really just thought Alabama was better in 2 of the 3 phases. And I felt like if Alabama played well enough offensively, a.k.a. Jalen Milroe, that they could win the game. That's what happened. Milroe had his best game in an Alabama uniform. He threw the ball with pinpoint accuracy. A lot of the keys that I had in the game were correct. I mean, I said he needed 300 all-purpose yards and the 2 or 3 touchdowns, but he got it a different way. I didn't think he would throw for 300, but I said he needed 20 completions. I think he ended up with 21.
Yeah.
So the only and they didn't win the turnover battle. I said they needed to do that. I missed on that. They lost 2-1, and I was wrong on the penalties. I said they needed to have like 4 or 5 or less. That certainly wasn't the case. No. And then also too, I felt like going in they needed to rush for 150 yards, and that didn't come close to happening. But
23, by the way.
But I will say this. It was kind of a wash because A&M wasn't able to run it either. I mean, Alabama defensively was
67 for A&M.
Was absolutely, locked down. I thought, and again, I just thought overall when you looked at the way Alabama played defensively, and in some cases they were put in bad positions, but I thought they responded really well, especially and I thought they kept their mental errors to a minimum. Like, I thought Kool-Aid made one bad decision. Like, when Anias got up the sideline, he went for the pick. He should not have. He should have just stayed home and lit him up.
Yeah.
And then you're still at the 35-yard line or so, making them burn clock. He took an unnecessary chance.
But you said it, and so it needs to be uttered again. This is 2-0 on this road trip at Mississippi State and at Texas A&M. This defense, this team, is very capable of winning the SEC championship.
Well, I'll just say this, and your team played great. Georgia destroyed Kentucky. I thought they would beat Kentucky. I just didn't think – because, first of all, Kirby's not going to lose to a one-dimensional team, and that's what Kentucky is. But I will say – I've seen Georgia. I've seen Alabama. Alabama's got the best defense in the conference.
There's no doubt.
Because I don't think Georgia's D-line is what they have been.
I'd like to take a closer look at Michigan, honestly, but I would be willing to say that they're right up there as the best defense in the country.
I think, I thought going in that Alabama had a significant advantage against A&M in the secondary. Now, Georgia's got a good secondary. I've been impressed with their secondary.
They're growing.
I mean, their linebackers are pretty good. I'm not sure they're on Alabama's level.
D-line, you can tell, is a little thin.
And D-line, I don't think is like Alabama's. But they're still – I would say Georgia's probably the second best defense I've seen. I need to see more of Tennessee, and that's what's going to make it so fascinating to see if the check's clear and A&M's motivated enough to show up and play against Tennessee. because that's going to be a really interesting game in Knoxville.
When is that kick time? I'm going to look
I don't
that
think
up.
I want to say I saw it was TBA. I'm not sure they've announced the entire deal, but I don't know. I know Alabama Arkansas is 11. Some of those games they may have been waiting to announce.
CBS.
So it is going to be the CBS game.
Texas A&M at Tennessee is CBS.
And I'll tell you another thing I noticed too. We were talking about this on Friday. That the spread had got down to 1. We know what happened. Everybody, Bill Rowe. And it was not. I checked. It was not true.
Yeah.
He didn't have a hamstring injury. Whoever that was in Nashville needs to, have his sources checked. Whoever got on the radio flapping his gums from Las Vegas, because I thought it was interesting. I don't know if you noticed this. On Saturday morning, it went back up to 2.5.
It did.
So there was some money that came in late on Alabama that somebody got tipped off, like he's completely healthy, and they had a feeling like I did that Alabama was going to play well and going to win the game.
So tell me this. There was one part of the game where Jalen Milroe just got rocked.
Oh, it was a blitz.
But it really felt to me like a Jalen Hurts moment when he was at Ole Miss.
2016, it reminded me of that.
Because it reminded me of that as well, and how he responded and how the team responded to him after that hit as well.
Well, miraculously, Alabama recovered it. I didn't think they would.
Yes.
Now, if you remember the Hurts when it was picked up and run for a touchdown, and Alabama was down 24-3, and I thought the game was over. And then Hurts ended up rallying the troops and everything. But that's one thing, and that's the one thing too that I took after the game. You got to clean the penalties up. There were still a few occasions where Milroe made mistakes where he timed situation. Maybe you need there was a situation late in the game. It was the before the last possession. It was Alabama's second to last possession. They had a chance then to almost run the clock out, and it was like 3rd and 6, Steve. And they dropped back to pass, and he tried to go through his progressions, and he held on to the ball too long and took a sack. When the left side was wide open, he should have just took off after the first read and get what he could. Now, was it a guarantee he was going to get the 6 yards? Probably not, but it looked like it was wide open, and he should have took off. I just still think the next progression for him is they have to tell him, look, man, we can't be taking as many sacks as we're taking. Like, you're going to have to take off and use your legs. Like, just understand time and situation. And then there are certain times and certain plays you go 1 through 1, 2 reads, and if they've given you the kind of pocket they've given you, and you've got time, then you need to take off. Okay, especially if it's 3rd down and 8, 9, 10, something like that, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah.
You're the best athlete on the field. He's the best athlete they have on offense. Okay, so he's got to learn to use his legs a little bit more to help them move, because they're going to have to run the football better than they did yesterday if they're going to win the championship.
And it bears repeating. I've said this earlier that I thought that there is an MVP on this team. It's not Jalen Milroe. It's not Caleb Downs. It's not Dallas Turner. It's the kicker.
Yep, Will Reichert's a hell of a player, and I got a little nervous yesterday because I didn't catch exactly what they said, and I thought when they said so-and-so pulled a muscle in his leg, I was afraid they said Reichert, and I was about to go to the bathroom and stick my head in the toilet because I was like, oh, Lord. I was like, they can't lose Reichert. But it was Burnip, and he had boomed one.
Yeah.
But Will Reichert did punt at Hoover. He punted earlier in his career at Alabama, and he did a solid job. He didn't boom him, but he got good hang time, and he did what he was supposed to do. Hopefully they'll get Burnip back soon. Burnip was back on the sideline, but I mean, again, he had a muscle pull in his leg. They weren't going to take a chance on it. He may have to be – I wouldn't be shocked if he was shelved until the bye week, where he has to get back. But
LSU.
And I'll be interested to see if Reichert keeps doing it or if they have another, walk on. They're confident. I would probably just let Will do it. I mean, I think he's good enough. And so, again, Will, he did one heck of a job. They didn't – and again, one other key that I did hit is I said Alabama had to make a big play in the kicking game. And they blocked the field goal.
Exactly.
I mean, and that was – even though Alabama got it called back, it was demoralizing for A&M because they got no points out of it because they were still getting the hell kicked out of them that whole second half. You know what I'm saying?
Well, hindsight's 50-50.
Well, like I told Anaya Smith on Twitter, you don't tug on Superman's cake sometimes, brother. You're 1-4.
256-576-4977 is the telephone number. Brandon has called into the Bama Recap Show presented by Freedom Marine Center. Good morning, Brandon.
Morning, guys.
Morning.
We're on the road, headed up here near Rocky Flop. You want to test a marriage, load a camper together in the morning. That's all I'm going to tell you. I've done it about 10 times, and it never gets any easier because you keep having to say, every 100 pounds you add, the little slower we're going. So I watched that game yesterday, and I do feel like we're better. I do feel like our defense is better. It's clicking better. Guys are doing stuff better. I felt like Milroe had about 5 missed throws that he never even attempted to make that would have made a big difference in that game. And I need him, what Drew's talking about, take off. The run into the outside, how about go forward? If it's not there, let's don't run to the outside and lose 3 yards trying to get to the boundary. Let's just go head on into the tackle and at least get back to the line of scrimmage or get +1 or get +2. Like, I feel like if he can start doing that a little more, that's going to make a difference. But overall, his toughness, I don't question. He took a hit and got right back up like a man. I mean, I was kind of worried there for a minute that he wasn't going to get up. But I really loved how A&M, they could not do anything in that second half. And I'm going to tell you, I think it would have been a little bit different ball game if Wegman had played. So I'll take that little free gift that we got Johnson yesterday and that we didn't get Wegman.
Well, we'll see. I mean, Wegman is, I think, a better pure passer, but he may have been more prone to mistakes. I mean, I think Max is a smarter,
I think
older
that
guy.
throw in particular, when it was interception then interception, the pocket was not a clean pocket. It was good pressure by Alabama.
Yeah, Alabama, and neither of them are great athletes. So Alabama did a great job collapsing the pocket. I mean, on that the play before the safety, I mean, I had a coach call me, and he said I was going crazy. He goes, I made him stop it, and I said, rewind that. What do you mean rewind? He's like, they ran straight over the center and the guard, and I mean just knocked them on their rear ends. He's a line guy, so he was just going ballistic. Tim Keenan is turning into a beast.
Yeah.
I mean, he's an undersized guy. He doesn't. And I watched him in high school at Ramsey, he does not pass when you're looking for defensive linemen, he's like 5'11". You're sitting there thinking he's a little bit small, but all I'll say is football players come in different packages, man. And sometimes it's about the will you have inside you and the tenacity you have and your understanding of how to play. And he redshirted and toiled last year as a backup, and now he reminds me of Robert Stewart, who wasn't the biggest guy at Alabama either, but could bench press a planet and you couldn't move him. And now he's becoming a factor as a rusher, Brandon, and he led the team with 8 tackles. I mean, he should have a chance to maybe get an award from the SEC office for that game.
Well, I think the defense is emerging. I think that early in the season against Texas, they hadn't quite found their flow and they weren't playing together. But I think they're doing a better job now. And I was speaking with Derek Lassick yesterday, and he said, in these loud environments, it would be nice if we could take some snaps under center. That way some guys peripherally, they're not having to wait and listen for that clap. They can get up on the line of scrimmage. They can kind of peer out of the corner of their eye, and they can go. He said these guys are either trying to go on time or they're listening for something. He said, and it's too loud. So I'm hoping that going forward, we're going to work on being able to take some snaps under center and do a little bit of a drop back instead of always being shotgun. And how about them Ruiz Hurricanes, baby? Woo! Taking that butt whooping from downtown Tech. I love it. Crystal ball. Crystal ball.
I mean, we've already, I don't know if you heard at the very beginning of the show, but that
was definitely a key to victory.
No, we have now nicknamed a mental mistake like Milroe made when you throw the ball. Luckily, it didn't turn into a catastrophe, but when you make a mental mistake and throw it, it's a crystal ball from now on. 34 seconds. All you got to do is take a knee, and you're freaking running the ball. I mean, I love Mario. He is a great recruiter and a great guy, but as a head coach, you just cannot do things like that.
Yeah.
And then in 2 plays, let him go 75 yards. What are you doing with this catastrophe? I mean, I watched the Miami Hurricanes call-in YouTube show last night.
Oh, did you really?
I couldn't help myself.
Did you also watch T-Bob and Matt Moscona?
I did not yet.
I mean, I know they won.
I know,
but that thing was ugly to watch as well.
I know. I mean, I'll just tell you, Moscona does a Facebook show every morning. He got up on Saturday, just basically getting the sleep out. I mean, he was getting ready. He knew. But but I didn't watch that. But the Hurricane Show, good Lord, on YouTube, they don't censor anything.
Well, yeah.
No. They don't censor anything in those Twitter chat rooms. I went in one last time too. God have mercy. But that's the kneeling crystal ball. That's going to be my fantasy football team next year.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you. I mean, I just wow. When I saw the way they lost, and remember, it's Haynes King who was the A&M quarterback.
Someone mentioned.
And look, I didn't know who caught the ball, and then I'm watching it. It's Christian Leary, and I was like, "Oh my Lord!"
That's exactly what I was about to say.
I called Rodney Orr immediately. I was like, "Did you see this?" I was like, "It was Leary."
All right, we're going to hear from Coach Nick Saban on the other side of our first time out. It is the Bama Recap Show, walking you up to Falcon football, coming up at the top of the hour, but we've got time to take your phone calls at 256-576-4977. It's the Bama Recap Show presented by Freedom Marine Center.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com.
There's nothing like the freedom you feel when you're on the water in your own boat from Freedom Marine in Guntersville. New or used, Freedom Marine has just the boat to make your time on the water the best it can be. Pontoons, fishing, ski boats, you name it. And all season long, Freedom Marine is giving away 4 packs of Alabama football tickets. Just log on the Freedom Marine Facebook page and like, share, and comment to be eligible. New and used boats, outboard sales, financing, service, and parts. It's Freedom Marine. Highway 431 in Guntersville and online at freedommarincenter.com.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list, and maybe a little scary. But it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
Injuries at work happen all the time in Alabama. So do motor vehicle and slip and fall accidents. If you're hurt at work or injured in an accident, I want you to call my good friends at Pond Lehocky Giordano. That's Pond Lehocky, Alabama's injury law firm. They got your back just like they've got mine. For personalized legal support, reach out to Pond Lehocky at 855-774-3838 or pondlehocky.com.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers. There's nothing like the freedom you feel when you're on the water in your own boat from Freedom Marine in Guntersville. New or used, Freedom Marine has just the boat to make your time on the water the best it can be. Pontoons, fishing, ski boats, you name it. And all season long, Freedom Marine is giving away 4 packs of Alabama football tickets. Just log on the Freedom Marine Facebook page and like, share, and comment to be eligible. New and used boats, outboard sales, financing, service, and parts. It's Freedom Marine. Highway 431 in Guntersville and online at freedommarincenter.com.
All right, so what do we want to talk about first? The good news or the bad news? Because we got a little bit of both. But I could never be more proud of a group of guys for the way they competed in a game, the way we competed in the second half. But, you know, the message going into the game was don't give the other team anything. You know, play with poise, execute, do your job. Stay focused, you know, throughout the game. And there were times in the game where I felt like we lost our poise a little bit. And but in the second half, we competed and did a fantastic job. Jalen played extremely well. We were able to move the ball offensively, even though we had to throw it. Couldn't run it very well. But the tenacity that our players showed, the competitive spirit, the resilient attitude to overcome adversity, a lot of which we created for ourselves. You know, having 14 penalties in the game, mismanaging things in the clock at the end of the game, you know, really gave them opportunities that, you know, we need to be able to fix those things so we don't help the other team. We helped the other team on their last drive to kick the field goal. We had 2 penalties and a missed tackle, and they're right down the field and score in no time. So we have a lot of things to clean up, but we have a lot of things to be proud of. And I'm really excited about just, you know, the team effort. And, you know, we weren't at our best in the first half today, but for guys to pull themselves up, to overcome adversity and resiliency. And this is a great win for our team. It was a great win for the program. It was a great win for this team. You know, it was an opportunity for this team to sort of show who they are in terms of what kind of team we have. And I think we can have a really, really good team. I just think self-inflicted wounds are going to be something that we can resolve because they're all fixable, and we certainly need to do that if we're going to be able to compete at a high level in the future.
That is the opening comments there from Coach Nick Saban as we welcome you back into the Bama Recap Show. Drew DeArmond, Steve Moulton here with you, presented by Freedom Marine Center. You can get an opportunity to win some Alabama tickets. Just head over to Freedom Marine Center's Facebook site and register to win some Alabama tickets there. So, self-inflicted wounds. Could you imagine this team playing a clean game, how different yesterday would have been? But nonetheless, there's a team that still has everything in front of them, and I mean everything in front of them.
Well, I will say this, and I'm probably going to tweet it later today, just to can't help myself. But in Texas, I did send this to a lady that I'm friends with. She's had a daughter go to the university, and she still lives about 30 minutes from the state grounds. And I sent her this link last night, and I said, well, this describes the day in Texas. And it was the old Soundgarden song, Long Black Days, because that's what it was.
That was an entertaining game.
I mean, it was, but Texas falls on their face. They can't finish.
Dylan Gabriel.
Yep. And then, I mean, you had first down from the 1 yard line. And even with Sark, you can't get a yard. Amazing. And then they lose the game. And then, of course, A&M falling flat on their face again. You know, Dirtneck getting out coached by Nick Saban. I mean, I'm just telling you, it's like a double albatross. You got Dirtneck and Harley Davidson You're not going to beat Nick Saban. Neither one of them hardly ever do. Okay.
Texas A&M's a good football
they're
team.
good. They're very talented. I mean, Max is a good enough quarterback. Alabama just was a little bit too good on defense for them yesterday. They can beat Tennessee. I'm going to be very interested because they're still in the race. I mean, they've only got one loss in the West.
That's right.
So how motivated are you? Are you going to listen to your coach? Are you more worried about your money? Are you more worried about playing and representing yourself? I mean, I'll give Anaya Smith credit. I watched his press conference after the game. He stood there and took it, and then he even talked about, talking to Coach Saban after the game and kind of looking him up.
Yeah.
So kind of trying to bury the hatchet there. I had a lot of respect for him. He gave a shout-out to Terrion Arnold, who made one of the best plays of the game on that deep ball. If he does not get his hand in there and Anias catches the ball, Texas A&M may win the game.
So that's another thing that we have not broached yesterday was the injuries and guys moving positions. It's not an easy thing to do.
No, I mean, the secondary, Malachi went down probably with a high ankle sprain from what I understand. He didn't play the majority of the game, and so they had to move people around. They had to move Terrion inside to the star. Amos was playing the corner spot. Then Story was playing some at safety because I saw him in there. They had to move a lot of guys around because they've cross-trained. And I'll be honest, Alabama you have to be a little fortunate sometimes too. A&M had a couple opportunities on throws where I thought they had a couple of drops where Trey Amos was beaten and they just weren't able to capitalize on it. Alabama had a couple of drops too early. Nye Black and Burton on a first down, but that's football. That's the way it is. You have to just like Burton's fumble, you have to bounce back and make plays. And so I'll give Burton credit. It was his best game in an Alabama uniform. The thing where I thought Milroe grew is he threw the ball accurately in the short intermediate, which is what you got to be able to do to grow as a quarterback.
Yeah.
The arm strength has never been a question. It's always the decision-making and the accuracy. And we'll see. Was this a Steven Garcia moment, or was this something he's going to build on and become a really good quarterback? Because he's going to have a chance to do so. I still think there's going to be teams loading the box trying to stop the run and make him be a passer.
Yeah.
But if he keeps doing this, and again, I think Tommy Reeves, you've realized something. Milroe is capable of doing this. He can throw if they're going to load the box up. So show some faith in him. But I still say the next step in his evolution is you've got to also on certain plays take off, use your legs, and don't take sacks. Don't take hits. I mean, come on. Some of it was A&M's pass rush. I understand. And they should have a good defensive line. It's the highest paid one nearly in the NFL, okay, because a lot of these cats are making a lot of money. But, I mean, but you got to use your athleticism more and then continue to grow. And he's growing. He's getting better. There's no question about it. But he's got to take the next step. In other words, even maybe counsel Jalen Hurts, like, bro, you can't be taking the hits, man. You've got to make business decisions and use the sideline and also just take off and try to move the chains a little bit. Don't take the hits, because, again, he's very important for what Alabama's going to do because everybody freely admits now, none of these other quarterbacks are ready to go.
Yeah.
Dylan Lonergan has never played in a game. Ty Simpson was not ready mentally or emotionally or physically to be the quarterback this year. He did a good job, salvaging a game against South Florida, who, by the way, gave up, about 56
UAB.
But anyway, I'm just saying they won the game, but in a pinch situation. But Milroe is the starting quarterback on this team. He has to keep getting better, and he's becoming a weapon.
Yeah.
But he can become a lethal weapon. Shout out to their, I think, making the 5th and final movie. But anyways.
Are they really?
That's what I heard.
Wow.
But I just think that he can become a true weapon in the SEC, and he's becoming one. But he just has to keep getting better, and he's got to understand what Coach Saban and those guys are telling him. Down, distance, situation, you got to be smart. You got to continue to evolve mentally. Physically, he's got every tool, okay? But the mental part is where he's got to keep getting better.
Here's a little bit more from Nick Saban.
Yeah, I brought it up with the penalties and mismanaging and, all that. This may be the record game for me in terms of messing up and still winning. Might be a record. You take the mess-ups and the penalties and you add them all together. But then you look at the other side of that is what kind of resiliency and ability to overcome adversity does somebody have when you're talking about the kind of competitive spirit you have on your team, which I'd take that any day because we can fix the other stuff.
I'm telling you, that right there, if Bama can clean themselves up, which they are fully capable of doing, then look out.
Yeah, I mean, Chase Goodbread asked the question, and it was a good question. I mean, they've got to be able to clean it up. I mean, you can't continue to shoot yourself in the foot. I mean, and let's not misunderstand something too. They won this road game, and their third-string right guard played the majority of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because Ferguson still wasn't ready to play, and I didn't think he would be, even though Lawson did play. And Dalcourt had a shoulder. He's always had some sort of physical ailment. He couldn't go. So that was Jaden Roberts. I mean, I got a text early in the game. Who is 77?
Well, we all knew at the end of the game.
Yeah, he made it, and he made some mental mistakes on the jumping off sides and
twice,
and twice in a row, just flinching. But he's a big, huge guy. He had, and that's by far the most extensive playing time he's ever got.
Yeah.
So you're sitting there in effect playing with your third string right guard. In any program in the country, I don't give a crap who it is. If you're even Georgia, if you're playing your third string at an offensive line position, it's probably going to have some hiccups going on.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah.
And it did. I mean, he's from Houston too. He's from Texas. He's another Texas kid. So again, it's just one of those things. Alabama was playing with, and they played two left tackles because Elijah Pritchett played a little bit once again, and then they put Proctor back in the game.
Yep.
But it's just one of those things and McLaughlin, he had a couple of low snaps. I didn't think it was bad though.
Snaps were not as big of an issue.
And again, I can handle as long as they're not a worm burner. If they're a little low, you got to go. Hey, I can handle that. I just don't want them high because when they're high, it screws up the timing of everything.
Then your eyes go
or
north.
It might even go over the head, and then that's a real disaster.
Yeah.
So I just thought Seth did a decent job, and I'll just say this. I never saw Seth get run over like I saw the supposed all-SEC center for A&M get run over late in the game. I mean, he got mauled. And again, I thought going in that Alabama's O-line, even though they've been criticized, was still better than A&M's. And I felt good about that after the game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So again, I just felt like going in, Alabama had some key advantages, but the biggest thing and the biggest question was offensively, could Milroe play his best game? And he did, and that's why Alabama won. And I thought it was big that he didn't play a flawless game. He made the mistake at the end, but luckily it didn't cost him. He threw an interception, but as Coach Saban mentioned in the postgame, he bounced back from the interception. Against Texas, he was kind of hang-dogging, and he didn't really respond well. He responded well, after that mistake, because the defense, first of all, got him the ball right back. And then and no disrespect to CBS's coverage, their play of the game was not mine. They called the slant to Burton. The biggest play of the game was when it tied it at 17 was the throw in the corner.
Yeah.
And that was on third down, and they blitzed.
Yeah.
And that was and he just missed Burton wide open for what should have been a walk-in touchdown. Okay? But the very next throw, Tua or Mack or Jalen Hurts, I don't care who it is. They're all starters in the NFL. Bryce Young, that was their kind of throw. The one he stuck right there.
Yeah.
That was a tight window, and Burton came up with it, and it tied it at 17. And I thought when they caught A&M, it made A&M kind of, like, we didn't think this guy could throw the ball, and now we in trouble.
Yeah.
And because by then I thought Milroe was starting to get into a rhythm, and when he got into a rhythm, A&M was in trouble because again their secondary is an abomination. It is awful. It's one of the. That's why. It wouldn't surprise me if Tennessee takes full advantage of them next week.
I would love to know what Josh Heupel's daughter, her review of the game yesterday, because I did talk to Coach Heupel, and he said he was going to sit down, watch a couple of games with his daughter, and I did ask Coach how well she can break down film, and he said she knows ball.
Well,
she knows ball.
I'll just say this: that's his next two opponents, so I know.
That's why I went there.
Yeah.
I got some generic vanilla answer, and part of me was like, come on, Coach. I know you're watching the game. I know you're watching the game because that's your next two opponents. But anyway, let's, on the subject of around the conference, we're going to go there next and preview of some barbecue, potentially. more than likely. Them hogs are coming.
There's nothing like the freedom you feel when you're on the water in your own boat from Freedom Marine in Guntersville. New or used, Freedom Marine has just the boat to make your time on the water the best it can be. Pontoons, fishing, ski boats, you name it. And all season long, Freedom Marine is giving away 4 packs of Alabama football tickets. Just log on the Freedom Marine Facebook page and like, share, and comment to be eligible. New and used boats, outboard sales, financing, service, and parts. It's Freedom Marine. Highway 431 in Guntersville and online at freedommarincenter.com. When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
Here's Bobby White from Woody Anderson Ford on their service department.
President's Award winner 2 years in a row. That's only given to the top 10% of Ford dealers in customer satisfaction. So we're very proud of the service department. And our body shop. If you happen to get into an accident, which not a lot of people just want to go down and see a body shop, but if you get into an accident, award-winning body shop. We have the state-of-the-art paint booths back there. They're waterborne paints that we use, friendly for the environment. We've got our production system, the way things are in and out. We have the fastest cycle rate in town of getting your vehicle in, getting your vehicle out, and assured that it's fixed right. We take pictures before it's wrecked, and not only after, but we take it as we're putting the parts on. All done to above industry standards. So I'm proud of our body shop too. Don't forget our parts department. So if you don't happen to need parts, performance parts, or just parts if you're a weekend mechanic.
Woody Anderson Ford, located at the corner of Jordan and Sparkman, as well as Hughes Road and Madison. You can also check out the great deals at WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Built to win.
Touchdown, Alabama!
Built for championships.
Throws intercepted, Alabama.
Built by Bama.
Alabama is still Alabama.
The Crimson Tide play here. Join us Saturday as the Crimson Tide take on Arkansas in an SEC showdown. Our coverage begins at 8 a.m. on your home for Alabama football.
Listen to Alabama football all season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
There's nothing like the freedom you feel when you're on the water in your own boat from Freedom Marine in Guntersville. New or used, Freedom Marine has just the boat to make your time on the water the best it can be. Pontoons, fishing, ski boats, you name it. And all season long, Freedom Marine is giving away 4 packs of Alabama football tickets. Just log on the Freedom Marine Facebook page and like, share, and comment to be eligible. New and used boats, outboard sales, financing, service, and parts. It's Freedom Marine. Highway 431 in Guntersville and online at freedommarincenter.com.
Hi, this is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Join us every week for Alabama football right here.
Listen to Alabama football all season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
It's the Bama Recap Show. Rudy Arman, Steve Moulton here with you, presented by Freedom Marine Center. Nick Saban is now 30-3 against his former assistants.
Pretty good winning percentage.
Everyone focusing on really the last 5, which have been closer. There's no doubt. But 30-3 against his former assistants. Unreal. Just unreal, the kind of video game numbers that Nick Saban is ratcheting up down in Tuscaloosa's. Alabama, there's no doubt they are going in one direction in the polls, I would assume, later today or tomorrow.
Well,
it's probably back in the top 10.
Well, they've been around 10 or 11. We know what happened to Notre Dame last night. They got eviscerated by Jeff Brom, and Brom
undefeated.
Yeah,
Louisville.
I mean he came back home, and they're better.
Yeah,
they've definitely taken some steps forward. They're a dangerous team. There's no doubt about it. Louisville's kind of been under the radar.
Did Joey Gatewood have a reception?
Is he finally moved to receiver permanently?
Tight end.
Oh, tight end.
I read tight end.
Well, I always felt like he should have moved positions because he was too good an athlete. He reminds me of another former quarterback who is now still in the NFL that played at Auburn, C.J. Uzama, and C.J. ended up becoming a tight end.
Joey Gatewood, 1 reception, 18 yards. He was targeted 3 times.
So, I mean, Louisville's a good team. It's going to be interesting because now I'm going to be fascinated to see the fork in the road because you're talking about Missouri. They played well yesterday but didn't win.
Yeah.
And Kentucky got eviscerated.
What, they were up 22-10, I think, over LSU?
It was 22-7.
Was it?
At one time. And then LSU kicked it in. But I'll be honest with you, I'm still going to say it. The best player in the SEC so far has been Jaden Daniels. I mean,
he did get hurt yesterday.
Yeah, but
a rib injury.
He came back in.
He did.
He is tremendous. He has been tremendous. His growth has been unbelievable. So if you're an Alabama fan, you want to see Jalen Milroe with the same kind of growth. But Jaden Daniels has been – I know that he probably won't get the MVP of the league because they're not going to probably win the conference.
Yeah.
But he is an outstanding player. And then this Mizzou-Kentucky game is going to be very interesting because Kentucky's got to get back up off the mat. They didn't just get beat; they got smashed
in the first half.
And so it was 34-7 at halftime. Mizzou emotionally will have to get back up because they played so well. They had a chance, they just didn't pull it out. Now, how do they react? Because to me, this will decide which one of these two teams could potentially have a 9 or 10 win season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because Kentucky could still bounce back as well. But I tried to tell Jeff. I tried to tell him, you're not going to win the league without a quarterback. And they just cannot figure out the quarterback position. They're just not good enough at quarterback at Kentucky. They're one-dimensional. They're a good football team. I think they're a well-coached football team. But they're just not good enough at quarterback. And who knows? I mean, I've had severe questions about Alabama with Jalen Milroe, but he has taken some steps the last 2 weeks to give Alabama a chance. I'm not saying they're winning the conference.
Yeah.
I'm just saying they're put themselves in position to have a chance because of Milroe's improvement, but he's got to continue to grow.
Let's squeeze in Mark before we hit the top of the hour in the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Houston Texans. Good morning, Mark.
Morning, Mark.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's my bad. Go ahead, Mark.
We got you.
Morning. Hey, morning, real quick, guys. Big win for Bama, but the one thing that I think is going to hurt Alabama from winning the West is not going to be talent or coaching or it's going to be Jermaine Burton. What they do after they make a big play. It's that Turner, number 15, I believe, made a blind side block, took the kick, the kickoff, the block.
You talking about the block? Yeah.
Yeah. It's still a lack of discipline. It reminds me a lot of the year where we got beat by like a drum by Clemson in the title game. I mean, I could see us getting to a game like that, getting to a championship game. But when you get in those games, normally you can tell in a big game like we saw on Saturday, I'm glad we won. But I'm still seeing that same old undisciplined type of, and then that, sort of garbage looking. I put it this way, Julio Jones, how many times did you see him do anything other than hand the ball to the official?
I mean, it's true. I do think Burton has got he likes to play with an edge, but I do think he needs to control his emotions better. Dallas, I think, again, hopefully that's a valuable lesson for him. Again, just don't touch anybody behind the play.
Yeah.
Don't give the official a chance to get himself on television and throw the flag. I mean, because they're going to look for any excuse.
We've only got a couple of minutes. What did you think of Arkansas?
I thought they played better than I thought they would against Ole Miss. They played hard. They still don't have a great offensive line. They can't run it real well.
That O-line is.
I mean, KJ's basically taking a beating back there. They're a pretty good football team, but I honestly thought Ole Miss was flat after they beat LSU.
Yeah.
I thought Golding did a Golding and let them back in the game in the second half and got them in a little bit of trouble. But I'm going to tell you this. I think it's a matchup Alabama should win. I think they should be better on both lines of scrimmage. Yeah. If they protect the football and don't let Arkansas hang around, I think it should be a double-digit win. But I'm going to tell you I got to say one more thing. I watched that USC-Arizona. USC is a fraud. A fraud.
Arizona lost to Mississippi State.
Arizona's quarterback, who wasn't even starting at the time, was better than Caleb Williams last night. You couldn't tell that with the announcers, but I'm sorry. USC is going to lose at least 3 times. They are a fraud.
I did watch the very end of that game.
Lincoln Sharman is a fraud.
How do you really feel, Drew DeArmond?
Roll Tide.
We'll
Another win over Dirt Neck. It's always sweet. Dirt Neck.
Falcon football comes up next. Pre-game this Saturday, 8 a.m., baby. Yeah, 8 a.m.
Chad Guaffney, have some brunch.
Roll Tide, everybody. We'll talk to you next Sunday morning on the Bama Recap Show, presented by Freedom Marine Center.
Coming to the field as one of the captains today for the Texans, along with Jimmy Ward, who came over in free agency from San Francisco, and Steven Nelson, the other corner from Oregon State for the Texans. And, of course, the Falcons have Chris Lindstrom.